Homelander. Homelander, from The Boys, is what happens when you give Superman's powers to someone raised in a lab instead of a family. He wasn't even born in the traditional way. He was made, literally. Vought, a company that manufactures superheroes with issues, created Homelander in a lab using Soldier Boy's genetic material. Yep, Homelander exists because someone took Soldier Boy's contribution and turned it into a science project. During his birth, he killed his mother by lasering her in half. After that, he was raised in a sterile lab. No parents, no childhood, no love. Just scientists in white coats, cameras watching his every move, and constant psychological and physical torture. He was burned in an oven to make his skin more durable, and was literally manipulated into becoming Vought's obedient little lapdog. Vought taught him that he was special, superior, that the world existed to love him, and when it didn't, let's just say things didn't end well. Homelander craves love but has no idea how to receive it, or give it. Every relationship he has is manipulative or outright disturbing. He's terrified of the public ever stopping their love for him. Whether it's the public cheering his name or a terrified coworker telling him he's the best, he treats praise like oxygen. I mean, the guy literally gets turned on when someone compliments him. His relationship with Soldier Boy is especially weird. When Homelander learns that Soldier Boy is his biological father, there's a brief flicker of hope, like maybe, just maybe, he can finally have a real connection. But Soldier Boy sees him as weak, pathetic, a disappointment. Then he tries to kill him, which completely shatters Homelander. His only genuine connection is his son, and he has no idea how to raise him. And if you're being bottle-fed Compound V instead of milk, yeah, odds are you're not turning out okay. Arthur Morgan. Arthur Morgan from Red Dead Redemption 2 is one of fiction's most quietly devastating characters. Arthur lost his mother when he was young and even witnessed his father's execution. He was then taken in by Dutch van der Linde, the charismatic leader of the van der Linde gang. Dutch didn't just give him shelter, he gave him purpose, family, a set of rules that sounded noble: steal from the rich, fight the corrupt, live free. And for a while, Arthur believed in that. He believed in Dutch. Arthur also had a lover in his younger days named Eliza, and a child, both of whom were killed. But the gang isn't some group of heroic outlaws, it's a mess of broken people running from the law, leaving chaos behind them. Arthur spends most of his life killing, stealing, and surviving. He's not proud of it, but he's good at it. Then, everything starts to fall apart. Dutch changes. The man Arthur once saw as a father turns paranoid, chasing dreams of one last big score while the gang slowly eats itself from the inside. And right in the middle of it all is Micah Bell, a backstabbing, manipulative snake who feeds Dutch's worst instincts like it's a hobby. Arthur sees through him early, but Dutch won't listen. That betrayal, not just Micah's, but Dutch turning his back on the people who truly cared, becomes the final nail in the coffin. The turning point comes with tuberculosis. Arthur gets sick and it's terminal. He's dying, slowly and painfully. But that's what makes his story tragic, because with death staring him down, Arthur finally starts living for something bigger than himself. He protects John Marston, tries to save the remnants of the gang, and does everything he can to give someone else a future, even if he doesn't get one. Spoiler alert for the people who haven't finished the game. In the game's most honorable ending, Arthur confronts Micah in a final brutal fight atop a mountain, already bleeding, exhausted, and dying. Dutch shows up too, torn between his two most loyal men, and for the first time, he sees Micah for what he is, a traitor. But he doesn't shoot him, he just walks away, leaving both men behind. Micah escapes. Arthur, too weak to move, crawls to a ridge and watches the sun rise one last time. If you've ever heard a grown man cry at a video game, there's a 99% chance it was this one. The other 1% probably finished Red Dead Redemption 1 right after. Anakin Skywalker. Anakin Skywalker from Star Wars is one of fiction's most iconic, tragic figures. Born a slave on Tatooine, Anakin was discovered by Jedi Master Qui-Gon Jinn, who sensed his unusually strong connection to the Force. From a young age, Anakin showed incredible potential, but also a lot of fear and anger bubbling underneath the surface. Being taken from his mother and trained in the strict, often cold Jedi Order, Anakin's biggest tragedy starts with love, or the fear of losing it. He secretly marries Padme Amidala, something forbidden to Jedi. His visions of her death fill him with desperation. Enter Emperor Palpatine, the master manipulator. He grooms Anakin for years, slowly turning him against the Jedi Council. Palpatine offers him control, the power to save Padme. The breaking point comes when Palpatine reveals himself as a Sith Lord. Anakin reports him to the Jedi, but then watches as Mace Windu prepares to kill him. Torn between loyalty to the Jedi and the fear of losing Padme, Anakin makes a choice. And it's the wrong one. He intervenes, helps Palpatine kill Windu, and seals his fate. From that moment on, Anakin Skywalker is gone, and then comes the Purge. As Vader, Anakin leads the assault on the Jedi Temple, massacring Jedi, even the younglings. He's sent to Mustafar to wipe out the Separatists, but instead of finding peace, he finds Padme and Obi-Wan. What follows is a betrayal so personal it burns, literally. He fights Obi-Wan in one of the most emotional duels in Star Wars, and loses. Left burning and dismembered, he's more machine than man by the time Palpatine saves what's left of him. His last tie to humanity is shattered when he's told Padme is dead, the very thing he tried to prevent. Despite the horrific acts, there's still conflict inside Vader. His love for his children and remnants of his old self linger beneath the armor. armor. In the end, it's his son Luke who redeems him, reminding Anakin of the man he once was. Anakin sacrifices himself to destroy the Emperor and to bring balance to the Force, but only after decades of darkness. Diavolo. Diavolo from JoJo's Bizarre Adventure might be one of the most terrifying villains in the series. He starts off as a mystery, the boss of Passione, Italy's most powerful mafia. Diavolo hides his identity so thoroughly that even his most loyal followers have never seen his face. He rules from the shadows, manipulating everything while keeping his existence a secret. Why? Because Diavolo believes the past is a threat. He's convinced that if anyone knows who he truly is, he'll lose control. So he erases anything or anyone that comes close to exposing him. And no one was more dangerous to his secrecy than his own daughter, Trish Una. When he learns of her existence, he tries to kill her, just to keep his identity hidden. But Diavolo isn't just paranoid, he's fractured, literally. He suffers from dissociative identity disorder, sharing a body with another personality named Doppio. Doppio acts as the innocent, childlike half, while Diavolo is the ruthless mastermind pulling the strings. His stand, King Crimson, is just as confusing and terrifying as he is. It erases time and lets Diavolo skip moments, effectively making him untouchable. You can't hit what you can't even experience. But eventually, his past catches up. When Giorno and the others threaten to uncover his identity and take over Passione, Diavolo goes into full panic mode. He kills anyone who stands in his way. Giorno defeats him using Gold Experience Requiem, a stand so broken it traps you in a loop where you die over and over again, forever. That's Diavolo's ending. Just an eternal death loop. Stabbed, crushed, burned, hit by cars. The guy went from being untouchable to being the most touched man in JoJo history by a garbage truck, twice. Dexter Morgan. Dexter Morgan, from Dexter, is one of fiction's most complicated, tragic characters. Dexter witnessed his mother's brutal murder as a child. She was butchered with a chainsaw right in front of him, inside a cargo container. That broke him completely. Found and adopted by Harry Morgan, a police officer, Dexter grows up struggling with what Harry calls his dark passenger, a violent urge to kill. Harry teaches him a strict code: only kill those who deserve it, like criminals who escaped justice. It's supposed to keep Dexter's darkness in check. He's like Batman, but instead of putting people in jail, he kills those who escape and fit the code. His relationships are messy. He tries to keep people close, like Rita, his wife, and his kids, but his secrets eat at him. When Rita is brutally murdered by the Trinity Killer because of his own mistakes, it's a devastating blow that shatters what little stability Dexter had. His need for control and killing clashes with his genuine love for his family, pulling him further apart. His relationship with his sister Deborah is also on the edge, especially since she found out he was a serial killer. He even had to kill his own brother, Brian Moser, aka the Ice Truck Killer, because he was a threat to Deborah, and because he fit the code. Dexter spends his adult life as a forensic blood spatter analyst by day, and a serial killer by night, hunting down murderers who slipped through the cracks. It's a twisted form of vigilante justice, but underneath it all, he's desperately trying to connect, to be normal, to be human. Dexter wanted to leave the city with his girlfriend Hannah and son Harry for a normal life, but first he had to deal with Oliver Saxon. Instead of killing him, Dexter left him alive for Deborah, a mistake that led to Oliver escaping and nearly killing her. And through it all, he's still trying to figure out if he's capable of love or just a monster in a human suit. As Dexter would say,
"Tonight's the night."
Jason Todd. Jason Todd from DC Comics is best known as the second Robin. Unlike Dick Grayson's Happy Circus origins, Jason grew up on the streets of Gotham, a kid fighting for survival after his mother's death. When Batman finds him, he sees potential, a chance to save someone like himself. But Jason is impulsive and hot-headed, and his time as Robin is full of struggles and mistakes. His story takes a brutal turn in A Death in the Family. The Joker captures Jason, tortures him mercilessly, and leaves him to die in a warehouse explosion. When Jason was brutally murdered by the Joker, Batman blamed himself. He felt responsible for failing to protect the boy he took under his wing. Years later, thanks to a mix of cosmic forces and complicated comic book science, including the Lazarus Pit, Jason is resurrected. But he's not the same kid. He comes back darker, angrier, and more dangerous. Instead of reclaiming the Robin mantle, he becomes the Red Hood, a vigilante willing to cross lines Batman never would, like killing criminals instead of just breaking all of their bones and sending them to prison. Jason feels deeply betrayed by Batman himself. He believes Batman gave up on him. Batman's refusal to kill the Joker, combined with the painful reality that he didn't or couldn't save Jason from death, feels to Jason like a betrayal. It's as if the man he looked up to chose the Joker over him, leaving him abandoned in his darkest moment. Reverse Flash. Reverse Flash, aka Eobard Thawne, from the DC Comics universe. Eobard started as a huge Barry Allen fan from the future. So much of a fan that he decided to become the Flash himself. Only problem? He couldn't actually get the powers naturally. Instead, he recreated the accident that gave Barry his speed, but it went wrong. He traveled back in time to meet his hero, but quickly realized he was destined to become his greatest enemy. His jealousy and hatred consumed him, warping his sense of self so badly that his life became a constant loop of revenge and destruction. He kills Barry's mom in the past, the event that creates the famous Flashpoint timeline, a catastrophic alternate reality that shows just how far his obsession will go. And that's not even the worst part. Thawne's entire identity depends on Barry. Unable to escape the man he worships and despises, rises in equal measure. He's the only person who remembers every timeline and reset, forced to live through endless versions of his own failures. If your life revolves around being your hero's villain, maybe it's time to find a new hobby. Or, therapy in the 25th century. They probably have good time travel insurance for that. Rick Sanchez. Rick Sanchez from Rick and Morty is one of fiction's most brilliant minds, and one of its most broken people. He's a man who can do anything, except fix himself. Canonically, Rick lost his wife and daughter in a bombing orchestrated by a version of himself called Rick Prime. He repeated the process on the Dianes of other Ricks who had likewise turned down his offer, before eventually using a weapon called the Omega device to kill Diane in every universe across infinity. This means that in every known multiverse across all realities, she died over and over again. That trauma became the driving force behind his hatred of attachments and his turn toward total nihilism. Rick rejects everything that might make life meaningful. Family, morality, consequence, all treated like jokes. He makes fun of what he secretly wants. You realize the man who mocks love is desperate for it. His bond with Morty is a disaster wrapped in codependence. He manipulates Morty, exploits him, and pretends he doesn't care. But when Morty walks away, Rick breaks. The truth is, Rick needs Morty more than Morty needs him. Not because Morty's smart, but because he's the only person who still believes Rick has some humanity left. And when Rick isn't dimension hopping or fighting godlike parasites, he's sitting on a toilet in space, drinking himself into oblivion. And let's be real, when you turn yourself into a pickle to avoid therapy, yeah, there is something wrong with you.